お疲れ様です。ここまで2勝2敗で、明日勝つか負けるかで大きく変わる一戦だと思うんですけども、この大一番に臨む率直な心境っていうのを教えてください。
昨日からの継続だと思うので、昨日の試合前も言いましたけど、もう2連勝するゲームだと思ってますし、その1勝目を取ったというだけなので、その後半戦だと思ってます。
Standing up on the right.
ポストシーズン、独特の雰囲気で、これだけの大観衆があって、ちょっと今更なんですけども、打席に向かうときっていうのはどんな感覚なんでしょうか。大歓声の中で。
どうなんですかね。歓声がすごいなっていう。それ以外はあまり集中しているので、大きく変わることはないかなとは思いますね。
そういう意味で敵地でね、敵地から本拠地に変わるわけですけど、今回、そういう意味ではファンの声援というのは大谷選手にとってどういう存在、どういう意味を持ちます？
僕よりもやっぱり相手の方がなんていうのかな、プレッシャーがかかる声援によってプレッシャーがかかるのかなとは思うので、僕自身は味方が多いっていう、自信というか、それを持って打席に立ちたいですし、相手に負けることなく、強い気持ちを持って打席に立てればいい仕事ができるのではないかなと思います。
Standing up on the left side in the middle.
お疲れ様です。このポストシーズンに限らず、先ほどあるプレーに関して忘れましたという発言があったんですけども、いわゆる自分にとってマイナスというか負になるような要素であったりプレーであったりことに対してプラスに変える、いつもそういうふうに見えるんですけども、そこの変換する作業っていうのは自然なものなのか、それとも自分で俯瞰して自分で抑えようとしているのか、その辺の自分の方法ですね、やり方っていうのはどういうものがあるんですか？
本当にいいことも悪いことももうほとんど忘れてるので、1戦目のなんていうのかな、全体的な感じももう忘れてますし、本当に終わったゲームは短期決戦は特にもう終わったことは全部が終わった後に振り返ればいいかなっていう、そんな感じなので、本当に明日勝つことに、全部集中できていれば今はいいのかなとは思います。
We'll stay on the left.
お疲れ様です。本当にしびれる大会がずっと続いていると思うんですけど、その球場を離れてからっていうのは野球のことを考えるのか、それともオンとオフを切り替えて、もうオフはオフだって言って球場離れたらもう考えないようにしてるのか、その辺って過ごし方ってどうされてますか？
どっちもありますかね。それはシーズン中もそうですけど、基本的に帰って自分の時間を過ごす、家族の時間を過ごす時もありますし、ふと思った時にバット振る時もありますし、それは、特にどっちを必ずやらなくてはいけないということではなくて、その時その時で違うかなと思います。
Okay, we'll take a couple more. We have the third row on the right, in the middle.
さっきもおっしゃった2つ勝てばいいだけという、物事に対処するときで常に最悪のケースを考えてやるのか、とも最高のイメージだけを持ってやるのかっていうところでいうと後者だと思うんですけども、それはご自身の何か体験があっての思考なのか、その辺ってどこから来てるんですか？
必ずしも後者が正解だとは思わないですけど、もちろんそのゲームに臨むにあたって、例えばリスクを回避する方向を常に取っていくスタイルが正解な時ももちろんあるので、そういう意味では最悪を想定していくっていうことももちろん大事ですし、その時の状況によってそれは自分の気持ちのなんていうんですかね、バランスというか、そこが一番大事なのであって、その時にどっちを取っていく選択をするかっていうのが大事かなと思いますね。
あのケースだったらやっぱり後者を取らなきゃいけないけども、もう場面場面であったり対象によって全てを変えていくという。
そうですね。あの時はあの時でもう自分がそう思っているという だけなので、そう思わなければいけないということではなくて、本当にそう思っているっていう。
We'll take one more on the right.
お疲れ様です。昨日二塁へのタッチアップもありましたけれども、打席だけじゃなくて塁上でのその足でのプレッシャー、シーズン盗塁を積み重ねてきたことでより警戒もあると思うんですけど、その辺の相手に与える足でのプレッシャーというのはどう考えてますか？
基本的にシーズン中もそれがポストシーズンであってもなくてもどっちであっても、どういうシチュエーションでも走れるときに走っているので、それが明日でもそうですし、開幕の1戦目でも特に盗塁に関してはやることは特には変わらないので、明日も出たら積極的にもちろん狙っていきたいなと思ってますね。
Okay, thank you, Shohei. Appreciate you coming in.
Hi, Dave. Just first, what's the pitching plan for tomorrow? Have you guys made a decision just yet?
Haven't finalized it. Obviously, I'm sure Yoshinobu is going to be a part of it. How we deploy the relievers around it. If that's the case, I just don't know.
When you look at what you guys were able to do yesterday, how much did that serve as a blueprint of everything in regard to the at-bats, getting to their starter early, things like that?
It was kind of what we had hoped for. I think that, just being aggressive, kind of trying to scare the pitcher, whoever it might be, out of the zone. Darvish certainly aggressive with his spin, and so I think that it's still kind of ball in zone, be aggressive, shorten your swing because anything's in play with you in any count.
Well, Dave, you mentioned Yamamoto will be a part of it. Like, I'm not sure if he's had much experience coming out of the bullpen. Like, if you do go with an opener in front of him or whatever, do you feel that's something that you could do?
Those are things that we're talking through. I said it, I think, yesterday after the game. We have 6 or 7 relievers available, so I feel good about the relief kind of coverage. How Yoshinobu is a part of it, we're still kind of talking through it. I think the main variable is seeing our guys go out there today and play catch, see how they feel, which will give us a little bit more information on ultimately, who takes the brunt of the game, who starts the game. But to your question, I just feel that he'll do whatever we ask.
And with Freddie and Rojas, how do you see their availability for Game 5?
I don't see Miggy available for Game 5. Maybe to pinch hit. I think Freddie's going to be in there with 2 days off. He didn't try to get ready yesterday. He's feeling better today with treatment, and so I just feel like tomorrow he'll be in there.
Do you expect Flaherty to be part of the plan tomorrow?
Yeah, he'll be a part of it. I don't know how that would come into play, but I think, again, in an elimination game, I think everyone should be a part of the plan.
And then with Rojas likely out, does that mean Edman is short and then trying to figure out what you do in center?
Correct.
Do you know what you're doing in center yet?
I do.
You don't want to share?
Not yet.
Wait, just to follow up on that, when you have, especially if you're looking at some of these decisions, like obviously you have guys that have been better in the regular season, guys like, Kike, who have like the postseason track record, have played well. How do you weigh those things when you're looking at that, especially in a winner-take-all game?
That's a great question. I think it's obviously you're managing with urgency because every game is important, the moment's important, and Kike has shown that he gets up for the postseasons, and that's self-admitted as well. And so just kind of what he's done, it's hard not to ignore that. The sample over the course of the season is certainly something, but the sample doesn't equate to any type of success, in my opinion, in one postseason moment, right? It's kind of the person, that particular moment, and you got to make a bet. And so that's kind of how I look at it.
Yeah, Dave, with Yamamoto, how confident are you guys that you guys have attacked taking the issue that you guys ran with Game 1?
I think that I think we've cleaned some things up, and so to their credit, they've done a good job of scouting and things like that. But I think that as far as overall kind of where Yoshinobu's at, I feel really comfortable.
I know it's just 3 starts, and one of them was the Korea one, but they have hit him pretty well. What is it do you feel like it's a lot of them maybe have the good results against Yamamoto?
I think, you know, the Korea start's even really hard to even talk about. I guess I think I think over the course, it's just lack of command. When he hasn't commanded the baseball, he hasn't been really that good. But when he's convicted and ripping it and attacking hitters with his pitch mix, he's as good as anyone. And so I think that, you know, from Korea to the last one, when you start kind of nibbling and getting behind, that's when he's not at his best.
Aaron, the third row, right? Dave, you mentioned the 6 or 7, you know, high leverage guys that you have available. How would you compare this group to like some of your recent bullpens in the postseason?
I think it's better in the sense of the depth. I've shown that there's not a guy I don't trust in big spots, and so you have a lot of neutrality with our guys, and so I think that, you know, when you have to go to the same well for every big hot spot, it has a tendency in the postseason to catch up to you, where this year I feel that we have a lot of different guys that we can kind of deploy in certain lanes or certain spots.
As you're trying to figure out the sort of the path for Game 5, is one of those options just another bullpen game? Or
It is an option.
Yeah.
It is an option.
I guess the upside of that being those Yamamoto and Jack get to start like 4 times next round if you advance.
That is an advantage.
Sit here on the right.
Hi, Dave.
Hi, Jay.
Last time Darvish pitching a winner takes all game at postseason was 2017 with you guys. And you know what happened at the time. Do you expect to hear haunted by that memory?
I don't know. That's probably a better question for you. I do know what happened, and I think for us, it's just you know, be ready to hit. He doesn't give in, but when he throws his slider, curveball in the strike zone, or makes a mistake with the fastball, we got to be ready to hit it. And I do feel that if we can put pressure on him early, that puts us in a good position.
And just curious, yesterday you keep switching position between CT and KK. What was your thought process?
The thought was there's certain pitchers that I felt if they had a tendency to put the ball on the ground, I wanted Kike at third, and if there's a tendency to have the ball in the air, I wanted Kike to be out there. So that was kind of the genesis behind why I was doing that.
Go to Chelsea, stepping up straight back.
You've obviously been in this situation, you know, been in the top seed, kind of done the delay and the break and everything a few times now, and people talk about the layout, but I'm curious, like, how much of what makes it hard to be the higher seed in this series is just the difference in pressure? You know, that one team's coming in, you know, seemingly with kind of the expectations of like a regular season, and then the other team's got like a little bit less on their back. And if that is a part of it, like what conclusions have you come to about how you make that easier on a team?
Well, I think that, I guess one thing is when you're a higher seed, there's certain expectations that certainly that come with that. I think, you know, in a perfect world, I would say, all things being equal as far as injuries and things like that, is to go to the wild card series and come out of it, because it keeps you current. There's momentum behind it. The cost or the challenge is, do you want to take that chance? So obviously you're already banked in a division series. So I think that that's why teams that come out of a wild card series have somewhat of an advantage, because they're current as far as playing a schedule that we're used to, and there's momentum going into the next series. And so how do we try to kind of find that same momentum after having 5 or 6 days off or whatever it be? So that's the challenge.
Bill, also in the back.
Yeah, Dave, how much did last night's success with the bullpen game play into your willingness to do it again tomorrow?
It's a big part of it. It's a big part of it. I think that, and also I feel that we can kind of mix some things around as far as lanes and runs. because, again, the neutrality and the confidence that our pen has. But yeah, I mean, coming off with what they did last night makes everyone feel pretty confident going into Game 5.
And the tipping issue with Yoshinobu came up in spring training and Korea as well. Why is it resurfaced or persisted in his case?
Well, he's been out quite a bit. He was out quite a bit, and then I think he's had 4 starts since. And I think we identified it. And again, this is something that just some of the stuff that they were doing and some of the swings that they took, we just wanted to take a closer look at it and make sure that we have it all buttoned up.
Go back down the front to Jack.
When you do look at the lanes for different relievers, like, do you take into account trying to get different guys on different hitters from last night? Does that factor into the decision at all?
Yeah, all that kind of, you know, the leverage, the lanes, you know, score, you know, recency as far as head-to-head, all that stuff is in my thought process, absolutely.
And in front one.
You've kind of done the opener thing before Game 5, right? You did it with Julio a couple years ago, and you've also had your ace kind of go in those situations. Like, what are the pros and cons with going with more of a bullpen game trying to mix and match as opposed to going, you know, with a guy who you guys have always said this is why you signed him?
I think that the bullpen games, the lanes, the usage is more defined, and then you sort of go to the next guy. When you go traditional, there's just sort of stress points, breaking points that I've got to make a decision. At what point you pivot, or do you continue to kind of ride with that guy for however many innings or outs? And that's kind of that's the difference, as opposed to a bullpen guy. There's a clear lane or a clear purpose why he's in the game.
Take 2 more. We got one in the back left, and then over here in the back third.
Dave, when you were looking into you know, whether Yamamoto was tipping, what he was doing, was there something that was changing in his delivery, or you know, that he doesn't usually do? Is it you know, more about kind of controlling and like hiding the tendencies versus making a shift, coming back?
It's a little both. I think that it's a little of just kind of being aware of it. I think that if we're aware of certain tendencies that we might have, then you can kind of manage it. And so however we decide to go about doing that is what we're going to do, if that makes any sense.
We'll finish up on the right.
About the Yoshinobu, if he doesn't start tomorrow and come out from the pen, what's his idea? Like, is he comfortable, or like, what was his thought?
He's very comfortable. He is very excited about tomorrow, whatever happens, and I just don't know what's going to happen going forward. I think our only focus is tomorrow and finding the best pitchers to prevent runs tomorrow, and putting together a lineup that's going to give us the best chance to win tomorrow. So that's my only thought.
So he's committing to either round.
Excuse me?
He's okay with both rounds.
Correct.
All right, thanks, Dave.
Thanks, guys. Yeah.
9月19日日本時間9月20日はメジャーリーグの歴史に残る一日となりました。この日、大谷翔平投手はマーリンズ戦で驚異的な記録を打ち立てました。彼は6打数6安打、3本塁打、10打点、さらに2盗塁を記録し、ついに MLB 史上初の50本塁打、50盗塁50-50を達成。この偉業に日米両国のファンは大いに盛り上がり、その日が MLB のソーシャルメディアにおいて史上最大の日とされるほどの反響を生みました。MLB はこの記録的な一日をデータとして公開し、その影響力を公式に発表。大谷の歴史的快挙により、MLB の X 旧 Twitter では、24時間で総計840万回ものインプレッションを獲得しました。これにより、9月19日は MLB の X の歴史の中で、最も注目された日として記録されました。さらに、 MLB のソーシャルメディア全体でも今年は大幅な成長を見せています。MLB によれば、インスタグラムの利用は前年から28増加、X では69もの増加を記録し、Facebook も17増、YouTube に至っては33増と、いずれも大幅な伸びを見せています。特に、大谷翔平の偉業が報じられた9月19日当日は、これらの成長がピークに達し、X では MLB の歴代最大の1日となりました。この驚異的な記録の中で、最も注目されたのは、やはり大谷翔平の50-50の快挙です。MLB の公式 X アカウントでは、この歴史的な瞬間を報じる投稿が24時間でトップ2のインプレッション数を獲得。まさに MLB 全体が彼の偉業に注目し、世界中の野球ファンがその瞬間を目撃し、共に喜びを分かち合いました。大谷の快挙がこれほどまでに注目されたのは、その成績がいかに得意であるかを物語っています。50本塁打、50盗塁という記録は、単に大谷が力強いバッターであり、同時に素早いランナーでもあることを証明するだけではなく、MLB の長い歴史において、誰も成し遂げてこなかった記録です。これにより、大谷は再び世界のスポーツ界にその名を轟かせました。大谷翔平という選手の存在は、ただ単に記録を作ることにとどまりません。彼のプレーは観客やファンを魅了し、彼がグラウンドに立つたびに新しい物語が生まれます。そしてその物語がソーシャルメディアを通じて広がり、世界中のファンに共有されるのです。9月19日の大谷の活躍はその典型的な例であり、その日を記録したMLBの投稿がこれほどまでに広く注目されたのも納得のいくことです。この日の反響は単なる数字ではありません。それは MLB がデジタルプラットフォームを通じてファンに届ける野球の新しい魅力、大谷という存在が持つ得意なカリスマ性、そしてそのプレーに込められたエネルギーが一体となった結果です。彼の活躍が SNS を通じてこれだけの影響力を持ったことは、今後も彼がスポーツ界において重要な存在であり続けることを示しています。今季、大谷翔平はその類稀なる才能を存分に発揮し続けてきました。打撃においても、走塁においても、そして時には投手としても、彼のすべてのプレーが MLB の歴史を塗り替えていきます。彼が残した50-50の記録は、今後も長く語り継がれることになるでしょうし、それが生まれた9月9日は、間違いなく MLB の歴史に深く刻まれた日となりました。この先も、大谷がさらなる偉業を達成するたびに、ファンやメディア、そして SNS は再び大いに盛り上がることでしょう。そして、その一つ一つの瞬間が、また新たな歴史を刻み、大谷翔平という存在の偉大さを証明し続けるのです。